please rise and join us in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, the Moines County Board of Supervisors, Tuesday, November 6th, 2024. Are there any changes to the tentative agenda? Before I forget, Tracy, if you'll ask me, I checked on that when you planted that stuff in the mechanics belt. Don't let me, remind me very, anyway.
Hand me that black pen of yours, of mine.
I don't see your name on
It's my pen though.
it. I guess it is now, for 4 more years.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, meet with department heads. Are there any changes to the tentative agenda?
I have none.
Meet with department heads and elected officials. Sarah Doty, Des Moines County Auditor.
Good morning. The big day is over, so that's a huge relief. Huge thank you to all of you for rearranging your schedules, your offices. Natalie, that end worked awesome for us, thank you. Brian, your staff that helped out, Kevin, everybody loved having the Sheriff's Department present, so that was huge. It went well. It was busy as could be, but it went very well. We had no complaints. Everyone loved how everything was set up out there. It went smooth. We didn't have any issues. We had the highest in-person absentee so far. Last 2020 we had 4,328, and this year we had 6,045. And our highest day that we had was 696 voters in the office in one day, and in 2020 the highest they had was 515. So it was a very busy time, but it's done. So now we are on the back side of balancing things. I gotta get my canvas ready, so I am asking that we move next week's meeting to Wednesday as well, if that's okay with you three.
Fine with me.
Okay.
Fine with me.
So I plan on Wednesday next week. But other than that, thank you to all of you for helping out and dealing with my crazy, but we got through it and on to the next. Rodney, your guys, when we need extension cords or whatnot, you guys were always running around setting us up tables and doing all the things, so thank you all.
Thank you, Sarah. Colin Gerst, IT.
Good morning. Just keeping busy like always, and nothing really new to report for the board. So,
Thank you. Kevin Glendenning, Des Moines County Sheriff.
Good morning. I'll just add that I thought Sarah in the auditor's office, her team, they just did an outstanding job. The efficiency with the voter turnout, I think the confidence in giving those numbers and how everybody felt going through that process, it was just really outstanding work by all involved. So it was great to see. That said, it's nice to pivot from that and refocus on the work at hand, so looking forward to moving forward. The jail, we are at 103 this morning, over 30 out of county, but we're seeing some trending numbers coming down, so hopefully we can get those numbers down as well. On the law enforcement side, we're quite busy, but just kind of business as usual for us, so we're managing well on that. So that's all I have.
Thank you,
Kevin.
sir.
Last night I had an incident. I went deer hunting.
Without a license?
Without a license.
We had a lot of
Recall
visitors last night.
And I want to tell you that your deputy, Brett Hallbridge,
Brett Hobbrick, yes.
he is a nice young gentleman, polite, very polite, very
Fine young
thorough.
man.
And I just want to let you know that you've got a good deputy.
I appreciate that very much. I'll pass that on, and he is an amazing young deputy. Great things ahead of him. And I'll add, I appreciate that we had a lot of deer accidents last night. That kept us quite busy. The rut's in full swing, deer are moving. All of our deputies that are deer hunters said that today's the day, so they're gonna go hunting. And based on the accident level, so just be cautious out there driving. If you see one deer running, there's probably a deer following it, so just be aware.
Well, Brett told me that This happened just about a mile and a half out of Danville on the way in town last night. And we seen him in Danville when we went by there. And so it didn't take him very long to come out after he called dispatch, you know. And I told him it was a big buck, and he said, "I'll bet that's the one I about hit." So I took a good hit for the sheriff's department.
We're gonna take one for the team, Jim.
That's $1,000 deductible you saved us.
I tell you, I think mine's only 500, would you give me 250? Thanks, anyway, he's a nice young man.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Rodney Gleason, Maintenance Director.
Good morning. Just really busy with a lot of things. Just want to congratulate all the newly elected and re-elected officials. So it's been a pleasure working with all you guys. So I just see you all come back. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Rodney.
Yeah, I kept you plenty busy and I appreciate everything that you guys did.
Trent Hankelbeck, Moines County Attorney's Office.
Okay, so Lisa's upstairs, she's got a jury today, finishing up. It's one of the guy charged with domestic assault with a weapon and possession of a weapon unauthorized for domestic assaults, prior domestic assaults. So I think she's got a good odds there. I thought that was funny, the way they reworded those. So, so she's up there today. But I'm also here, on the agenda, we have the thing for the IPIP, so we'll talk about that when that comes around. Everything else, we're still 2 attorneys down, so if you know anybody. All right. thank you.
Zach?
Looking for people too.
Thank you, Trent.
Yep.
Zach James, Land Use.
We're hiring too, so. We have somebody. No, business, pretty much business as usual. Nothing really crazy to report. We've got a couple kind of troubled properties where we got some complaints about some things, and we've been sending out some nasty letters to people. And we'll actually be meeting with Trent later today to kind of talk about some paths for a couple of those, so. Other than those though, pretty much just normal routine stuff, so.
Thanks, Zach.
Yep.
Chris Lee, Moines County Conservation Director.
Board meeting tonight is at 3:30 instead of 5:30 like normal. We moved it to accommodate a schedule conflict that one of our board members had. Other than that, about it.
Thanks, Chris. Janelle Nally-Longquist, Moines County Treasurer.
Good morning. We finally got the delinquent notices mailed out through our checks and balances. Last Friday, we realized that there was a Tyler software issue, but that's been resolved. And they finally went out, and I know some of them made it because they are coming into the office to pay those. So other than that, business as usual like everyone else. So.
Thank you, Janelle. Shannon Prado, Des Moines County Emergency Management Coordinator.
I had my first of the 2 classes of Cert Academy, so we have 6 students in that class, so 6 people from Des Moines County who are now going to be more prepared for emergencies, so we're excited for that. But other than that, I've just been keeping busy with administrative things and getting ready for winter. That's about it.
Thank you, Shannon. Natalie Steffner, Des Moines County Recorder.
Good morning. Everything's going well in the recorder's office. I will note that recordings were up for October, which is good because they've been pretty low the last year and a half. So hopefully we'll stay on that trend. Also a reminder that OHV renewals are due. They will expire December 31st. Been working with Colin still on the digitizing of our documents, still trying to work with Tyler to get a whole bunch of books uploaded, so hopefully that'll happen. So still just working on all that back indexing and getting lots more documents sent out to Iowa Land Records, so I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Natalie. Brian Carter, Des Moines County Engineer.
Good morning. I'd echo what a couple other people said. Congratulations to everybody that won in Des Moines County, and congratulations to Sarah and her office. It was it was crazy down here. She threw some numbers out and, but I saw it firsthand a little bit and they handled it very well, I thought, for the massive amount of people that showed up, which it's always good to see people vote. I think that's something that you always wanna see. So credit to them. And, other than that, for us, I'll mention a couple things. Nothing to do with us, but there are a couple closures tomorrow. Burlington Northern is gonna work on the crossing on 155th, which is the west access into the ethanol plant. They have 2 access points, so it won't shut off the ethanol plant by any means. So then the crossing immediately west on South Prairie Grove Road will be closed. Also, there was a press release sent out yesterday for that, so media and such should have all that. That has nothing to do with us, we just found out about it, so we want to try to let people know. Anyway, that's coming up. The concrete subcontractor they poured yesterday for their first pour on the approaches on the Upper Flint project, so, on that bridge project, so they're pouring as we speak, and I think they'll pour the rest of this week, they'll pour at least once each day, and I don't know if that'll quite wrap it, but it'll be darn close for the concrete side of it. And we just need to dry out just a little bit to put the final touches and get guardrail up. So it is making progress. Thank you to everybody's patience, because that's taking longer than we ever thought it would. And then I'd also mention it's not really something you guys are familiar with. I don't think I've said anything, but statewide, counties received a grant to work towards an updated safety plan, a roadway safety plan, which I think we did something similar to this probably 7 or 8 years ago or something like that. I don't know how long it's been. And to be honest with you, what it ends up being is it's a 3-ring binder that, depending on different grant programs and stuff, you might be able to lean on it to help yourself in a grant application or something like that. So it's not I think something's gonna happen immediately, but it's kind of a future looking thing. There's a consulting firm that are working with counties statewide. And so it's our turn, I guess I'll call it. So I'm working on setting up an invite list for some folks to come to a meeting, basically a 2 or 3 hour meeting in February. So I thought I'd mention it to you guys, you'll be on that invite list. It'll be public safety, school systems, that kind of stuff. I've already reached out to Kevin. Thank you to him for getting me some information. And so, anyway, just a heads up on that's what's going on. And so if you guys get an email from me about that meeting, I'll send something to you just so you have that date. And if you want to attend, by no means is it mandatory or anything. We're hoping for, the consultant will actually lead the meeting, go through certain areas, and then, but from what I understand, then a lot of it just depends on the group that's there and how much they bring up about just other stuff, like not even necessarily roadway safety, but just a good conversation about safety issues in general. So anyway, just a heads up that we're working on that behind the scenes, have been for a while, but it's getting to the point where we're starting to contact people on this invite list, yeah, other than that, like I said, plenty of stuff going on, but we're putting the final touches on some local asphalt plans to put out for bid that we'll try to bid about the same time as we do the Highway 99 and Highway 34 bid to get some asphalt, hopefully at good prices. So we're doing a little bit on Tama Road where we tore the road up because of the detour route a couple years ago there. And then Seven Ponds Road and South Prairie Grove, just the paved portions of those will get basically a fresh coat of asphalt as part of those projects. So plenty of stuff going on behind the scenes, but other than that, I think we're out blading. We've got some moisture, it quit raining, and guys are out doing some blading wherever it's not too wet.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Do you gentlemen have anything?
I have no.
Well, I do. I'd like to follow up everybody else and congratulate Sarah and the sheriff, my fellow board members. I look forward to continuing to work with you. I'm very happy about that. Thank you to Rodney's guys and the sheriff and deputies for the pitching in during the election. And besides congratulating Sarah on the election, I would like to congratulate her on her first presidential election and a high-pressure one. I was in that office a number of times, so I have an idea what was going on, so I'd quickly leave. So I have an idea how much pressure you were under, and you pulled it off. It was a high profile, and everybody had warned you about that and everything, and so you exceeded my expectations. That you were great.
Thank you.
So thank you and congratulations to all of you. Correspondence. Do either of you gentlemen have any correspondence?
I had none.
I had none. We will proceed to discussion and vote. We have accounts payable claims. Oh, we did have correspondence. I
Oh,
should pay
yeah.
attention before I get to
I stuck that in there, I didn't know if you wanted it in there.
talking very much. Oh,
Or if it needed to be or not. Forgot to mention that to you before.
oh, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's an update from a letter from Southeast Iowa Regional Planning, I think Zach.
Oh, yeah, I know what that is.
Anyway, and it's a regional priority project seeking nationally competitive federal funds, and a 4-page discussion of that. So I won't-
Yeah, basically there's I'm trying to remember the exact name now, community funded projects that are essentially what used to be called earmarks. So there's a process for that, kind of an official process for that now, that's usually early in the year. And then there's a lot of discretionary federal programs too that kind of happen in the spring. And so we decided to kind of request projects from entities around the region that are priority projects for them, and kind of see if they're fit a definition of regional priorities, and we'd include them in our regional economic development plan, just to kind of bolster support for those projects if they intend to apply for any of those funding programs.
Thank you, Zach.
Yep.
This will be on file at the auditor's office and available for public review at your convenience. And back to the accounts payable claims in the amount of $1,118,369.51.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
I gotta get back in my groove, I'm forgetting what I'm doing back here.
And the Iowa Public Information Board complaint, and I believe Mr. Engelveg volunteered to walk us through this.
Sure, so we've gotten an offer from, well, two of the parties were fine to move forward and have that dismissed, and then I think there was one of them, I think the editor of the Daily Democrat, is that right? That's the email form anyways. So what the board's offering is, one, to have us take a class on IPIP. And I talked to her about that last month in Des Moines, and she said they would be able to come here, so we could have a work session after a board meeting, go through it. And she's already sent me some emails, or not emails, some emails with kind of language. So when we were talking, when you guys were all talking in that closed session about, how do we uniformly charge from office to office, and how does the county do that? She has some examples. So I think if we do implement that into a work session, they would be there and they're willing to help us kind of develop that process. So I think that would be very beneficial for us, value added. And she's like, yeah, we'd love to come, we'd like to get out of Des Moines. So that's good. The other one is they want a resolution, and I have language emailed basically saying that closed session was an improper closed session. So this is some language that Ms. Eckley sent, that she says they normally would use. The board acknowledges the closed session on September 24th, 2024 did not comply with requirements for closed session under Iowa Code Chapter 21. So I guess my question here is, I think that would be acceptable to the board?
Okay with me?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll shoot her an email. They have their meeting, well, tomorrow. Today's Wednesday already, it's Thursday. So they'll have their meeting tomorrow, so I don't know if she'll get a chance to get this updated into their minutes or not, but I'll shoot her an email and let her know.
You might wanna ask if she need any assistance from Colin, if she's gonna use, if there's any sort of a presentation.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll.
And I have
we'll
no idea,
coordinate
maybe
that
it's a
when she's coming
handout,
down.
but-
I don't know, yeah. So, yeah, they do this, it sounds like they do this quite often. So, and at first I was like, we don't wanna have everybody go up to Des Moines, and she's like, oh, no, we'll come down to you, and so that'll work great, I think.
Are you gonna sit in on that with us?
I will, yeah.
Good.
Okay, so, looks like we're good to go with,
That'll keep transparency.
With the,
county.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, we have personnel actions. We have one for the sheriff's office. One for the correctional center, excuse me. We have Kenyatta Rooks, correctional officer, unpaid hours, 4.44 unpaid hours.
Move to approve.
Second. Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Shane Campbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker.
Yes. And we have three for the sheriff's office. We have Joshua Tyler Fain, a deputy, 60-month step increase. The previous rate was $69,469.41. The new rate is $71,727.17. We have the aforementioned Brett Haubrick. So you didn't get a ticket or anything?
No, give one more deer.
Did they ticket the deer?
Give him a double raise then.
Okay, well, anyway, it just occurred to me. Brett Haubrick, deputy, I think this says 18-month increase? Okay, 18-month increase. Previous rate was $57,190.28. The new rate is $62,522.42.
Well deserved.
And Clay Foster, at least I didn't have to call for backup. I apologize. Clay Foster, deputy. An 18-month increase. The previous rate was $57,190.28. The new rate is $62,522.42.
Motion to approve all three.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane Campbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes. And we have reports. We have the recorder's report of fees collected October 2024 and the Veterans Affairs monthly report for October 2024. These reports will be on file in the auditor's office and available for public review at your convenience. We have the minutes for the regular meeting of October 26th, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Shane Campbell,
Aye.
Tom Broker.
Yes. Any other business? Probably a good time. You'd asked last week about Mechanicsville, that fire, about when they planted that. The first fire, the first wind turbine was struck by lightning and burned on March of 2023. And that's the tower that was taken down and mostly removed. Took about 6 months. Then I think the foundation might have just gotten taken out. Anyway, the second turbine was struck by lightning and burned the first time on May of 2024, and the crop had been planted. But it was emerged, and I think that they were hopeful that somebody would go through and clean it. Anyway, and then the last one, the last time it was hit by lightning and burned was August 15th of 2024. So the corn would have been up and starting to dry out by then. And that's, so anyway, so she sent something, and I'm not gonna share it yet. I might have Trent look at it. She's unhappy with the company or a couple companies, and I don't know whether I would wanna make a, since it was sent to me,
Yeah.
that I would not want her to, another chance to get sued over the biggest pain in the ass in their life.
That might do it.
But, yeah. So anyway, but there's some interesting tips here. So when we look at that ordinance again, she said you might want to look at this, or we're disappointed about that. Okay, future agenda items.
That'll be one of them.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I have
Okay, well, conservation, and I guess I'd just like to mention that Jim Garnios passed away, and he was, I know he'd been on that conservation board for a long time. He was a fine citizen, and I'm sure your board will miss him, so I thought I'd make a note of that the county will miss Mr. Garnios.
Thanks, Tom.
We'll sit.
Public input. If anybody from the public would like to address the board, you can email the Board of Supervisors at board@dmcounty.com. That's BOARD@dmcounty.com. Or you can call 319-753-8203, extension 4. That's 319-753-8203, extension 4. We'll give you a couple minutes to initiate that email or that call. In the meantime, does anybody in attendance have any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's for Trent. So I know one organization that filed with IPIV was my employer, but who were the other two?
So there's a local citizen, Mr. Gregory Mangold, so just based off of the article. And then the one was from Mississippi Valley
News Media,
News Media.
which is the company that owns the Hawkeye newspaper.
Right,
Okay,
okay, and then your guys' company as well?
that's the same one. That is
The Daily Democrat is
owned by the same company. The editor of the Daily Democrat is also the editor of the Hawkeye newspaper.
Okay, then Greg Mangold, and then Iowa FOIA Council, so I think it was
Okay.
maybe the director of the, and I think it was like the outgoing director of the board. I don't have all the names down,
FOIA Council.
but yeah, but the email's FOIA Council, so.
Okay. So, my next question is, when you came before the board after the initial,
Mhm.
your suggestion was to use that closed session as the training requirement that was part of this request? Is that-
Well, I think I emailed them that, and everybody, all the complainants that, that part of, I mean, and if you listen to that closed session, if anybody did, I mean, that was basically a lot of what was discussed, was how do we comply with the FOIA request? Specifically, how do we apply with the, and it's not like, every department gets individual FOIA requests on a routine basis, and they handle those internally, and that works great. It's these really big, what I'd almost call industrial FOIA requests, and these multi-department FOIA requests, and ones that involve a lot of tech, where they want specifically tech, your responses digitally. So then, you know, we're having to put it together, we're having, legal's having to do a review, he's having to do a review before we send any of, you know, digital, so we got all of these different things involved. And that's really what they're, and I think that's the crux of what everybody's trying to figure out, right? Is how we handle those.
So, but the upshot though from that is that they didn't accept that as your actual training requirement. Or, cause I know there was a request that that the county received training in this area. And so that, the content of that closed session, cause they're coming down.
I guess not. I mean, it wasn't discussed in that concept. She's like, well, we'll come down to you, and I'm like, well, I think that'll be great. I think the guys, I think everybody would enjoy that, so. I mean, yeah, you could make that interpretation. It wasn't talked about in that context.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks,
Yep.
appreciate it.
I know I have, I don't know you guys, but at ISAC, I'm sure I've had that, I did training though, when they put on the classes for all the county employees. Some of you probably sat through it too, the training. And some of it gets a little, what you're talking is a little beyond technical. They don't use anything more than 2-syllable words when they're talking to a room full of supervisors. So a lot of this wouldn't be covered. But,
oh, okay.
so we'll look forward to that information. I think our 2 minutes are up. I believe I heard the duck quack.
The duck is quack. Did the duck quack, Tracy?
I heard it.
Oh, that's Tracy's duck.
With an eye, we're adjourned.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
It was good telling you.
Exactly.
Oh, you almost got away.